Hello. So I have Lindsay Bradtmueller here, super loan officer with Fairway Mortgage. And so thank you so much for joining me today, Lindsay. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me. I love the title, Super Loan Officer.
Yes. So in addition to being a loan officer, I have known Lindsay for like over a decade. She was my loan officer and will continue to be probably for the rest of my life. It kind of blows my mind when people buy a house and I'm like, oh, like, who's your loan officer? And they're like, oh, I have no idea. Are you kidding? And I'm like, Lindsay Bradtmueller. It's just forever and ever, always. So with that being said, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Thank you for the intro. Yeah. It was really awesome. Thank you. So I have been in the mortgage industry for 16 years now, which seems crazy. But fresh out of college, I decided to take a job just by chance as an assistant to a loan officer who was a top producer at the time. And at the time, I didn't own a house. I knew nothing about the mortgage business or housing at all, and learned a ton, and that job changed my life. So here I am 16 years later, loving every bit of helping people buy and sell houses and refinance them, save money, tap into equity, and all the things.
That's awesome. Thank you. There are so many things I think you don't know until you know.
Right.
And yeah, all products and companies are different. So Fairway is relatively new in this area. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about Fairway?
Sure. So Fairway Mortgage Company is a national company, has been around for, I believe we're at 28 years now. So although it's new to Fort Wayne, we are not new to the business. And we have an office that will be opening here in just the next few weeks out on DuPont Road near 69, right by the Trolley Bar. So watch for information about our grand opening coming out soon. But yeah, we have tons and tons of products available to serve most anyone's needs. And we can tap into a lot of different lenders' products, which is also a big help to help people get qualified.
So what drew you to Fairway? What about Fairway were you like, yes, that's the place that I want to be?
Good question. The people. As soon as I met the leadership team at Fairway, I knew that I was in the right place. And I teamed up with an old friend of mine, Stephanie Van Houten, and we decided to join together, back together again, to work together at the Fairway office in Fort Wayne, and it just feels like home.
That's awesome. So it's like you get to work with like a bestie doing the thing that you love the most.
Yes.
Oh, those are good feels for sure.
Absolutely.
So it's no doubt that it's tough for a lot of buyers out there right now. I'm sure you're hearing that all of the time. What are some struggles that you are hearing from people right now?
Affordability is probably the biggest struggle that buyers are having right now because interest rates are a little bit on the high side compared to a few years ago. And people are just really trying to readjust their budgets with the cost of everything going up. And that's been tough.
Okay, yes. So specifically, I know first-time home buyers, I think, are probably, I don't want to say necessarily disadvantaged, but the most struggle, if you will. Without going into all of the products that you offer, because I know you offer a ton of things, what are just kind of maybe some things that first-time buyers or just any buyers may not even be aware that you guys offer?
Sure, thanks. So we have a few different down payment assistance options. There's the one through Indiana Housing that we offer that's probably the most popular. There's also a couple of other that are available nationwide that can be paired with a multitude of products. There's a zero down USDA loan that's very popular outside of city limits.
So the fact that you could potentially purchase a home without anything down.
Without any.
First-time
Yes,
home buyer,
absolutely. Or if you just have a little bit, maybe you have 3%. So if you have 3% down, you can do a lot of different things. There's also some fun things we can do with lowering the interest rate temporarily or permanently. We can also do some fun things with the mortgage insurance with PMI. So you could maybe buy out of PMI.
What stuck out to me is you were like, we could do some fun things, and then you start talking about a bunch of mortgage things, which I think to most people are like, that doesn't sound fun at all.
Oh,
but to
I'm
you,
a big
like,
nerd.
Yeah, no, I know you love being creative with all of the things, and I think that's one of the, one of the things that's so wonderful about working with you is, I get calls often from people that are like, hey, I don't even know if I qualify for a loan. Like, my credit score is so poor. Like, what can I even do? And my first response is, let me get you in contact with an awesome lender, and let's just see. because a lot of times you don't know until you know.
Yeah. Well, another big hurdle for buyers is just really figuring out their budget. If that's not something that somebody's really spent a lot of time doing, that's really the first step. If you're trying to figure out, okay, what do I do first? It's really look at your budget. What do you have coming in? What do you have going out? What's comfortable for you? And then from there, a lot of buyers ask me, so what's my maximum I can get approved for? And that's a really tough question to answer, because just because I say that you can afford a certain dollar amount of price doesn't mean that that actually fits into your budget monthly. And because I don't take into consideration, maybe you're paying daycare expenses, or you're saving for a vacation, or those types of things are not in my review.
Sure.
So we need to work together to go off of what your monthly budget is, and then I'll help you determine the price range from there.
Well, that's super important too, because I think it very much matters who you work with, and people may not know. You hear, oh, I'm approved for this much, and you think, all right, I can go out and get this house, and then you start actually looking at what that costs and the rest of your life costs, and then all of a sudden you're in a position, and that's not an appropriate house or a budget. So taking all those things into consideration is super important, and one of the reasons why who you work with really matters. What are like some really common questions that you get? I'm sure after 16 years, you probably have at least a few things that like people just hit you with all the time.
Yeah, the biggest one is, what's my maximum purchase price? How high can I go? How high can I really go?
Sure.
People want to know that a lot. Another one is usually credit related. So I've had some credit oopsies in my past. Could I ever buy a house? And I think people are really surprised sometimes that life happens, and we're not here to judge people when they want to talk about those things. Just be open and honest. Don't try to slide something by us, because we really honestly learn about everything throughout the process. Yeah. Everything is uncovered at some point. So yeah, those are probably the biggest.
Is there anything else that you can think of that's really important?
Maybe just kind of like what it's like to get pre-approved.
Okay, yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit.
I want to know what that's like. The initial pre-approval conversation is really just that. It's just a conversation where we get to know each other at that point, to see if we're a good fit to work together. And if you feel like you're ready to move forward, then we'll move on to the next steps. And that would be actually pulling your credit report, taking a full application. That's where I need to know a lot about you. Personal data, where you live, where you work, how much money you make, and how much money you have in the bank. From there, I can do all of my calculations and figure out what the best mortgage products would be for you. Go from there to then refer you off to a realtor, or send you back to your realtor to go shopping for a house. And then we'll start collecting documentation from you at that time. And that would be things like pay stubs and W-2s, possibly tax returns, and bank statements and things like that. We really, really like to get you approved by an underwriter first, to get the real deal approval before you actually put an offer on a house. So that can take a few more days. It's a really important, necessary step, because then it keeps you right on track, and it can make things move a lot faster once you find a house.
Yes. I think sometimes people may not understand the importance of being fully underwritten. I know for myself, before going into real estate, I kind of thought like a pre-approval, a pre-qualification, like that's just a play on words, but they are very different. And especially in the competitive market that we have, if you have a multiple offer situation and you're looking at those, someone that's completely pre-approved and fully underwritten, I mean, definitely has more of a benefit, I would say.
Absolutely.
Okay. So yeah, those things are really important.
I think it's important to say too that not all lenders are created equal. We all have the same base core products, I'd say, but there are some added bells and whistles that not everyone offers and everyone participates in. So that's why it's really important to check around for some different options for yourself.
Yes.
Interest rates can vary, fees can vary, all the things. So it's just a really good idea just to interview anybody that you're going to work with potentially.
Yes, definitely. So I know for myself, working with you, I know when we work together, that's going to be a smooth process.
That's the biggest compliment at the end, is that it felt easy, because it's not an easy process.
No.
And there's a lot to it when you've got people that work together, and that's something that I really value about working with you too, is that you keep tensions at ease and make people feel really comfortable. And even when things arise, because things are going to come up, it's not going to be smooth sailing. There's going to be some kind of inspection thing or some kind of appraisal thing. You don't ever know what's going to pop up. Something probably will, and it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to work together to get through it.
Yep, that's true. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Is there anything else that you want to tell the camera?
Ooh, I don't know.
No pressure.
I would say I'm going to add that for those people who are not quite ready. So maybe there's some credit struggles, some job changes, or whatever it might be. I do have what I call a first-time home buyers club. And if you want to join the club because you're just not quite ready, then I have a follow-up program that I'll just be checking in with you. Honestly, it's tailored to each person what that looks like. It's a 12-month program overall, but you get a document from me that kind of lays it all out, and we can speed it up and get it done in 60 days, or we can take a whole year and get you ready throughout the whole year. So that's
awesome.
Another thing that I offer.
Well, thank you so much, Lindsay. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We should do a high five or something really cool.
Okay.
All right.